I get asked a lot, Marv, what apps are you using to create music? What apps are you using to create your sound kits? What's the sauce? I need to know what the sauce is. Can you tell me what you're using? Well, today I'm going to let you know and show you the apps that I use. Alright? You dig. Music always take my breath away. Yo, what up, man? It's your boy Marthmo Beats. I hope you guys are doing well for this Friday. It is the weekend. TGIF, thank the Lord. It is Friday, man. We have made it through another week. This is all things iPad producer on a budget. How you guys doing, man? I hope y'all are well. Hope y'all have made some good music this week. And man, today I'm going to basically show you guys the apps that I use for music production and sound design. I will start off by saying this: apps can be expensive. You know, at the end of the year, you're going to realize that you didn't spend XYZ on apps. Now, granted, you know, it is cheaper than the actual VSTs that are on your laptop, but you know, a producer with a family, those apps can be pretty taxing. So what I have did over the years, I have just really narrowed down what are the most important apps for me. Maybe about 2 months ago, in one of the iOS music groups on Facebook, a guy said he had just spent like $500 on music apps. Now, I ain't never spent no $500 on no music apps. Not in no one day, not in no one week, not even in a year. You know what I'm saying? To me, honestly, I just think that is flat out ridiculous. You know, I just think that's a bit overboard. You know what I'm saying? But hey, if you got the money to do that, be my guest. But you're not going to use all of those apps. There are some specific apps that you're going to go to create. So I'm going to get into that. I'm going to show you guys what I use. And man, you'll be surprised once I start to run down my list that it's not a whole bunch. It's not a whole bunch at all. So we're going to get into that in a few seconds. Before we do that, I just want to ask you guys and tell you guys, if you haven't subscribed, please hit that subscribe button and hit that notification bell. So when I post a vid, you'll get it. Alright? So without no further ado, let me show y'all my sauce. Yeah, I'm a little too old to be saying sauce. But yeah, let's get into it. Alright, you guys. So these are my apps that I use. I only have this one and a half, almost 2 screens of apps that I use. So if I go back to this page, and I just start off with, of course, Beatmaker 3 is my main go-to DAW. That is the only DAW that I use. You might be saying, well, Marv, why don't you use anything else? Have you ever tried anything else? I've used Cubase. I've used Area Pro. I've used Nano Studio 2. Cubase, I should have said. And yeah, those are all mainly all of the DAWs that I've used. I've even tried BeatHawk. But again, Beatmaker 3 pretty much suits my needs. It's very simple. It's easy to work around. I would almost say it's almost like a Logic to me. But that's my opinion. You may have a different opinion or a different app. Please leave a comment below on what app that you're using as your main DAW. I've always been into a user. I started out on Beatmaker 2, mastered that, and of course, when Beatmaker 3 came out, I jumped on that. Now, I remember when we was in beta testing, for a long time, I did not even open it because it was a learning curve coming from Beatmaker 2, and then plus it still had all of the glitching and stuff in the beta testing stage. But Beatmaker 3 is my go-to app. I would like to say my second, and I'm gonna do these in order the way how I categorize my favorite ones. So Beatmaker 3 is number one for me. I would have to say that my number two main app would be the Arteria iMini Moog. Basically, when I first started out on Beatmaker 2, this was the second app I believe I purchased. They have some really dope sounds in there. Arteria did a good job of really mimicking the actual Mini Moog. And I got some presets that I've made in there, and I've been having it for a long time, and I've just grown to love it. So when I have a certain lead synth or a certain bass sound, I tend to go there. Now you may be looking at, well, Marv, you got Model D right there. iMini Moog compared to Model D, I believe iMini Moog is the better Mini Moog synth to me. The Model D by Moog is dope, and you can't go wrong with it because the company created it. I just like iMini Moog, y'all. I like the texture of it. I like the sounds in it. And again, I've had it so long, so you might be saying, well, Marv, be a little biased. That may be true. I do use Model D. There are some nice dope presets that are in there. They got some Dr. Dre presets that are in there, which are dope. It came with it, so I really like those joints. So I would have to say iMini Moog would be my second go-to app, my second app that I use, my second favorite app. My number three, I will have to go with Galileo 1. The Galileo organ is, I think, maybe the third app that I purchased. And again, man, I don't have my speakers on. Again, I have certain presets in there that I've already created and made, and I just like it, man. The Yonak, they did a great job in making the simulation of a Hammond B3 with this Galileo organ. For my fourth plug-in, I would have to go with iGrand. I love the iGrand piano. They have all kinds of pianos in here. You got your gramophone upright, a saloon upright, a rock piano, mellow piano, grand piano, the classic baby grand piano. You got all of these different pianos in here, and they actually sound authentic, y'all. That's what I like about it. The sounds to these pianos are very authentic. And I've just grown to love it. I actually have the whole suite. I bought all of them. For my fifth favorite app, I would have to go with iElectric. Again, another dope product by RK Multimedia. And I use a lot of the suitcase electric pianos. I use a lot of the vintage, and I use a lot of the E-Grand. And man, all of these sounds are authentic. You know what I'm saying? The worldly. They just sound good, man. This is my fifth go-to app. I would have to go for my sixth app is yours truly, again, Sample Tank 2. Now, I use a lot of iSample Tank when I'm creating my sound kits. A lot of my 70 sound kits, and actually all of the kits that I've created, Sample Tank has had a big part of it. The only thing that I don't like about Sample Tank is not AU3. I'm hoping that those that are watching understand what an AU3 is. AU3 again is an app, is the different apps that allow you to open them up on multiple tracks versus once I open up Sample Tank, I can't open it again. So I find myself having to use a particular instrument, maybe using the strings, create an audio track, and then reuse it again and keep doing that, so on and so forth. I've just, got into a habit of using it that way, but I'm hoping one day that they're going to make this an AU3. So that would have to be my sixth app. That would be my number 6. My number 7 would be these Elena strings. These string instruments, string assembly, and it's the Elena strings, man. And for all of my, a lot of the older brothers, older people that are out there, you hear a lot of the, Elena strings, and like a lot of the 70s groups use it. Ohio Players use a lot of Elena strings. Parliament, Funkadelic use a lot of Atlanta strings. Even in some of your West Coast hip hop, Dre used the Atlanta strings. Even in some of his production as well. I like the old sound texture of those strings. I use that a lot in my sound designing as well. So that would have to be my number 7 app. Number 8 would be, it's not an instrument, it is an effect, but I love this joker. It is the Yonak Tone Stack. It's an app that, allows you to open up different, create your own, set up your own guitar rigs and pedals and stuff. I've been using a lot of this in the kit that I'm working on. I'm working on Marvelous Loops Volume 2. I am using this heavy. I've used this a lot. A lot of people ask me, well, man, how you getting that wah-wah sound? This is how I get that wah-wah sound. This is the app that I'm using. If you can see, I got this preset named Glenn Goins. For those that don't know who Glenn Goins is, Google him. Google him, and you'll find out who he is. I ain't gonna give you no history lesson on him, but Google Glenn Goins. Alright? So that's my number 8 app, I think. I think I'm on number 8. Then I would have to go with Poison. Poison as my number 9 app. I like the Poison app because they have a lot of the 80ish synths in there. Poison Gem Audio synthesizer module. They did a great job in creating this app, giving me that whole 80s synth vibe, and authentic sounds and textures here. You got a gang sense that you can choose from, and I use that a lot as well. All right. Let's see. Now Thor would be. Thor actually would go before Sample Tank, and the only reason I got Thor before that is because before I got into iOS, I wasn't Reason user. I was a propeller head user, so I was already acquainted with Thor using Reasons. So it just made sense for me to grab that app when I did, because I had already used it and was familiar with it. I would have to say my next app would be this Heavy Brass by Crude Bite. I like this Heavy Brass. um, app. The horn sounds are very organic, authentic, and real sounding. You have all these different options on how you want it. You got staccato, crescendos, growl, falls, etc. And it gives you that real brass horn sound feel. So I like the heavy brass by Crew Bite. I actually had the strings in the I Symphony too, but I Symphony was taking up a whole bunch of space on my iPad, so I had to back out of that. And for my strings and stuff, I use Sample Tank. For my strings. Let me open it back up. I'm a big fan of the mirror slabs, so I use the mirror slabs strings that comes. Well, you don't come with iSample Tank. You got to purchase it. So yeah, I like the strings in there. I actually like the bass sounds in there as well, and I like the guitar sounds. I just like Sample Tank. It's a well-rounded program. The only downside, like I said, it's not AU3. So once they get that, they will be on and popping. The SynMaster app, the SynMaster player, I just recently purchased that. I'm kind of still up in the air about it. I've used it for like some arpeggio stuff, but I don't get much usage out of it a lot. So the SynMaster will come after the heavy brass. Then I got the Funk Box here. I like the Funk Box because, again, with me doing a lot of the vintage sample kits, it just made sense for me to go ahead and grab this. I haven't used it a lot, and when I do use it, I know that I'll probably be using a lot of the Rhythm Ace program, just because of that was you would hear a lot of that type of drum machine in those 70 songs back in those days. So that was one of the main reasons I picked that up. And then I used to have the ND3000 Mellotron app, but they just came out with this one here, this Mellotron app. And man, this mug here is loaded. This joker got all kinds of sounds in it. And for those that are into, the Mellotron, and understand how it works, you definitely would enjoy this joint. I think they really put this together real well. I did hear in a YouTube video from the Sound Test Room. He was saying that this app would be AU3 in the updates to come. So I'm definitely looking forward to that, which would allow me to open it up on multiple channels. So yeah, I just got that one. And this IVC S3. This is it's an old school synth for those that may be familiar with it. And I purchased this. Again, I got this strictly for sound designing and creating this psychedelic some psychedelic samples that I've been creating. So I don't use that a lot. I just keep it depending on what I'm creating at that moment. And all of this on the second page is just my different plugins, all my Cleveland man, that is hard to say, Cleveland programs These are some of my favorite ones out of all of them. The Go-To EQ, the Haze, the DAW cassette, reamp, DAW LP, the Cleaver is my favorite reverb, the Espresso, Press It, and Curve Presser. I just recently bought those, and the Zelp. I don't know how to sound. I don't know how to pronounce that, but I like it because you can create these different, phasers and flangers and chords and stuff, weird sound and stuff. So I do use that a lot in my sound design as well. And Akaya's RS 950, the classic ADDA converter. Use that when I'm maybe doing some boom bap stuff, my Sugar Bite stuff, the stuff that I use for my vocals. I use a lot of the Mic Swap Pro. Use a lot of that. For sound designing, actually, I use a lot of that when I'm working on sound designing. Some different reverbs and stuff. Some miscellaneous pianos. And just pick this up. This is the Electrospit Talkbox synth. The ES1. I believe that's the name of it. Pick that up because I do have a actual talk box, which I'll be getting to using that as well. And then let's see, got some EQs right there. This is the 6144 DDMF EQ. This is mimicked after the Neve, and I must say, man, I like this joint. I use this a lot when I'm EQing live drums, my drums and stuff. Man, if you want to know more about the Neve, you need to look at this documentary called "It's Sound City." That's the name of the documentary. You may have seen it already, you may have not, but you need to check out this documentary called Sound City. When you look at that documentary, then you will be able to see what this app was simulated from. It was simulated from the Neve mixer board. All right, and then this is a DDM F. It's just a reverb. It's pretty dope. I like it. I use it. I haven't been using it a lot since I picked up the Cleaver. Before I had the Cleaver, I was using this. So it is a dope reverb. And I got the Transient and Maximum. Don't use that a lot. I just keep them around if I need to maybe lift up the audio gain on a certain track or something. Then I use those, or needing a different texture on a certain instrument, then I use the Transient. And last but not least, this monster here, the Lursen Mastering Console by IK Multimedia. I do like this joint. In the video that I did last week, I talked about it, showed you guys how I mastered my wife's song in here, and it's dope. I like the Lursen mastering plugin because it just gets to the point. It gets to the point, and I'm able to adjust and get the sound that I'm looking for. So this was the last app that I've got. Well, the good people over at IK Multimedia sent this to me, and yeah, I love it, man. And I'm not just saying it because they sent it to me. I do like it. I don't use Audio Bus anymore. I just keep it just in case. But that's all my apps, man. That's not a lot that I use to create music. And I use sound kits and loops and stuff as well. I tend to, do a lot of chopping those up, and redoing the loops and stuff. But that's it, man. That's all my apps. Like I say, I don't need a whole bunch to create good music. Man, leave me leave in the comments below, man, of some of the apps that you use. Let me know what you think about some of these apps that I use. If you got questions about any of these apps that I use, please feel free to leave it in the comment below. All right. So I'm gonna get out of here, you guys. Go buy you some apps. You guys have a great weekend, man. Y'all make some good music. And Lord's willing, I will see you guys next week. Grace and peace.